Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at the update 2.29 dev server once again, and this time we're having a look at a new banger at the highest echelon of aircraft. It's the MiG-29SMT. This vehicle is coming in. It won't be coming in at 12.0 by the way, it'll be coming in at 12.3, and the vehicle itself has pretty much every upgrade you would want over the standard MiG-29. It was hilarious a few weeks ago when the event was announced for summer and that the Su-25 for the event would get access to R-73s. There was comments basically from Guardian employees talking about the reason why stuff like the Su-25BM got the R-73, but the MiG-29 did not. You know, it only got access to the R-60M is because it was already a powerful vehicle and would be too good with them. Now we have the MiG-29SMT, which is better in every way and has access to the R-73s, which is a bit ridiculous. So the idea that came out a few weeks ago and was spread by Guardian employees was just wrong, and they just instead wanted to sell this thing instead of have a MiG-29 with those capabilities. The vehicle itself has access to a ton of secondary ordnance. It is designed way more for air-to-air combat than it is air-to-ground if you compare it to something like an F-16. The vehicle has access to the Klimov RD-33 engines with 6,820 kgf of afterburner thrust coming from each of them. Then it has fuel all over the vehicle that it burns through at a ridiculous rate, and also has access to the 30mm GSH-31 cannon over here. The radar it has is the NO-10, giving it a lot of different capabilities, and just like the F-16, the radar on this is pretty good. You also have cannons, CCIP and EEGS, meaning that it should be a little bit easier to use them if you're used to it. CCIP for the rockets, CCIP and RP for bombs as well. So looking at this, it's pretty damn good, is probably the way to put it. It's amazing how quickly technology develops when it comes to War Thunder, and this is just another step in that direction. It does have countermeasures, 60 overall, so not as much as some, but enough to be able to keep itself alive. And also at the same time, the main reason we have a look at these things is of course the weaponry. So secondary weapon wise, it has access to what the R-73s, which we talked about, does actually get them stock. This thing doesn't get access to R-60s at all, so you will start off with R-73s. It can carry 6 of them if you want to, and these are the general stats at the moment on the R-73. Probably not going to be changed, or probably not going to change, sorry, because of it already being on the live server, but may have some tweaks here and there. It's a very good missile. It has obviously the good old thrust vectoring that everybody talks about, but the other thing is it can be flared quite effectively since it is very flare sensitive. It also has access to the bigger missiles, so the R-27ER, the R-27ET, and the R and also the T. So it has the 2 upgraded versions of not just the semi-active one, the ER, but also the ET, which is the all-aspect IR missile. Now the way that I see this is the ET is the new missile that this thing gets alongside the R-73. But the ET is a really nice missile, but also it's just one of those which ain't really going to do too much, because I think people are just going to want to take the ER instead, since it gives the MiG a different way of playing instead of just another IR slinger, especially since you already have the R-73. Basically, you get a longer range IR missile, or you can actually use the radar and use the R-27 ER, which is going to be just much more useful for you. So that is going to be more used. It also does get access to some TV guided munitions, the 500 kilo cab 500s, and then also the KH-29 TDs, which turn up, the big old chunkies that you can see here. Definitely massive around the place if you want to kind of bring them in. So overall, you do have some decent ground capabilities, and obviously CCIPs and RPs all over them to be able to go through them. You do have drag bombs as well, incendiary munitions, and also rockets, so that is a benefit over the F-16, and of course the drop tank. So the vehicle can do ground, but the real question is, would you? And I think the answer is no. There's no reason to do ground in a machine like this. Instead, it is much better just to make it an air superiority fighter and then just kind of go and annihilate stuff in that way. You do also have Rita on board, which, you know, is the new sound system and also a new RWR. So with the F-16, you know, it kind of shows you what is locking you, like the specific vehicle that is locking you. Whereas in this machine, it actually shows you what type of lock is happening to, which is kind of an interesting idea. I actually kind of prefer this machine compared to the other one in that regard. So the missiles themselves, these big old ones, have a huge setup, and you can also see here that you can actually move them around. So it does have the head-mounted display, same as same as the other MiG-29 as well, and this is going to make stuff like the R-73 super powerful at the end of the day, because it can just move itself around and just annihilate stuff. This vehicle is looking really good. Like, I don't know how else to put it. I thought when the F-16C came in, there was obviously a lot of people who were worried about it, who were seeing bright lights and wondering how other nations going to compete. Well, I don't know how any other nation is going to compete, but at least the USSR will be able to. The missiles that this thing has access to, the radar that this thing has also got access to, is just going to make it so much more enjoyable and so much more fun to play. And the only real difference is between the two vehicles will be general playstyle differences. It's nice to see it, but also it would have been nice to have a bit of a shift in the meta. I understand that they want to add in, you know, more than one nation's vehicle at once to try and make it so different nations have something to kind of focus on or something to kind of play. But for me, I just wish it wasn't USSR and also America which got access to them. The cockpit isn't ready yet. I'm sure we'll see it at some point. Usually these things have pretty nice setups, and also you can see the wonderful countermeasures this thing has and the beautifulness of them. This is going to be a barnstormer. It's what you're going to see for the next update when it comes to munitions, and when it comes to aircraft and air realistic. There ain't going to be that many other things flying around the place. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.